All right, yeah. This track is so fire. All right, cool. So should I just leave it in the background a little bit?
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought that was dope.
Okay, yeah, cool. So we'll just keep it playing. All right, so welcome to the first episode of Real Business Roundtable.
Yes, welcome. We're here and excited to share real business stories.
Yeah.
We're out in the field every day working and speaking with business owners about their challenges,
Yeah.
their successes, their failures. We've seen businesses, go to the moon. We've seen businesses struggle, and we want to identify some of those things.
Essentially, we want to use this platform to kind of educate people, to, tell people about our experiences and what we've learned from those experiences. For some people who don't know us, you want to kind of introduce yourself.
Yeah, we want to introduce ourselves. So my name's Andy Galashahi. I am a growth consultant at the end of the day. I have 15 years experience actually helping businesses grow, showing tangible, real results. When it comes to like digital marketing, sales, entrepreneurship, business concepts, business models, things like that, messaging, simplifying your messaging. I don't want to ramble over and over again.
Yeah, you're being humble, man. He started a marketing agency from nothing, and he grew it to a massive company. And it does really, really well. I see it day to day. I partnered up with them a couple years ago to, work alongside, and you guys have built something amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. Just to give a little bit more backstory, can you tell me a little bit, or tell them more? So can you just explain how you started, where you started, how everything kind of came up?
And it's kind of what I want to get into in this first episode, which is a really big sticking point with a lot of entrepreneurs. They don't know where to stop, where to go, what industry to get into.
Yeah.
Let's say somebody went to school for business, or they're just passionate and want to do their own thing. They want to work for themselves. They don't know kind of like what direction to go into, what industry to get into. And that's sort of like what I want to talk about.
Yeah, I feel like people start up so many different businesses and a lot of them fail, but then once they find that right one that works well, then it takes off and they find that passion in it and they run with it.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll hear somebody's business idea and I'm thinking of, this is when I really nerd out about business, is when I'm literally like the Rain Man calculating like the potential, the market, how you could distinguish yourself, and all that stuff's going on in my mind. So like when I hear somebody's business idea, I'm immediately connecting those dots. But my background is always been in sales. My first job, growing up was a grocery store. Really wasn't. I was
humble beginnings.
I was sacking groceries. I was 15 years old and sacking groceries, and I just kind of looked at my paycheck and I'm like, hey, I want to do better. And there was an alarm company that did like home alarm systems for businesses and homes that was
like security systems.
Yeah, it was opening up, and I think I saw the job in like the newspaper. I'm dating myself. This is like 1996. Saw the ad for a sales position.
In a newspaper?
Yeah, in a newspaper.
I don't even know this story.
Yeah, I used to go in and try to, it was my first job. I was like sick of working at the grocery store. So I looked and I found a security company that was looking for inside salespepeople.
So like cold call sales all day long. Yeah.
Yep. So I went out there, and I always had the gift of gab. We'll talk about it on another show, kind of like my childhood, where things came from. But took a job there, and immediately I start I'm telling my buddies. I'm like, hey, there's a security company hiring. So literally me and like 3 or 4 of my other buddies, we're all working. So I show up at this place, and it's out of a guy's garage. So he made the garage the business. He had all the tables, all the telephones. He's like, listen, you guys are going to call these businesses.
Were you guys like the first sales guys working for him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Guy was kind of wild. He's like real wild entrepreneur. In my interview, he had dirty bare feet on his executive desk. He's like, I'm trying to build this huge company. It was
some of the most successful guys have weird quirks to them.
Yeah. So I was super excited.
Yeah.
I got that first sales job, and that's where I really kind of started to fine tune my skills with, educating people, highlighting the key points, grabbing their attention.
Yeah.
persuading them in a direction that's going to get them to take action. But on the phones, I would call business owners and homeowners, and I would talk to them about, maybe a recent burglary or break-in in their area, and I would use all the
types,
all the little tips and tricks that I had, and I would send a rep out, and if he closed it, I would get a commission on the meeting, and I would get a commission on the sale, and things went well there. And then I moved on. Some personal things happened with the owner of that business, and a relative of that business owner had a similar company one town over. And he goes, "Hey, come on board." I actually bumped into him at the grocery store. Actually, not the grocery store. I bumped into him at a bookstore like maybe a month ago. It was just wild.
Recently, a month ago, you bumped into him?
Yeah,
Oh,
he saw
is
me.
he still running the same business, or is he into different ventures now?
I think he's still into that business. But it was just neat to see him, and he was happy to see me, and it was really it was nice to bump into him. But so I went to go work for this guy that was a relative, same industry, but strictly business, not homeowners. So I'm calling businesses. Trying to see what's going on. You guys have security in place? No, we don't. Yes, we do. Hey, we'll give you guys a free
security for businesses, and you already had that, experience doing cold calls and like reaching out to people. So you had a good experience with it.
Yep. And then I got a second job. Mind you, I was in school. I went from high school to then to college, and then in college I was trying to balance a few jobs. So during the summertime, I would work for a construction company, legit cold calling. It was a roofing, siding, and window company. I would call homeowners.
That's funny.
Ask them if they want a free estimate for a new roof, siding, and windows. Did really well at that. I killed it. That's where I learned the construction industry.
Yeah.
And then I ended up graduating with a business degree, and I'll never forget. Someone was like, "You can go to school for business. You're not going to know shit about real business unless you go work for a firm, a management consulting firm, and learn the ins and outs of businesses." So this is when I really started to turn from just a sales guy to a more of a business consultant.
It's funny that you say that because, I was in college for a semester. And I felt like, I was taking business classes and all that stuff. And I just felt like I wasn't gaining knowledge from that. I wasn't gaining like actionable knowledge from that. And so I dropped out, started my own business. I wasn't making any money at the time, but I was getting a ton of experience. And that is so valuable. I mean, this could be, arguable, but I think it's more valuable than school.
Absolutely. Honestly. So real hands-on experience. And like when I'm bringing on people fresh out of school, interns, junior level people on my team, I always explain in my job ads, this is real world, hands-on agency experience. This is not schooling. This is not, going through the motions and pretending. You are legit working on a client's campaign that's going to make or break their success. So it's very serious, and it's real experience that's going to add equity to your skill set, and it's going to provide you value over and over again, and it's going to get better and better with time. Almost like look at it like a ball of snow going down a hill,
and just building and building,
grows
and
grows with time. But hands-on experience is comparable to nothing else. It's the best for you.
Well, I mean, when I first started, I literally was working for free. I knew I wanted to do marketing. I had, like I said before, I had started a couple businesses. I was doing drop shipping businesses that didn't really work well. But out of all those businesses that I did, what I found was that I loved the process of growth. I loved getting those eyeballs, those traffic, everything from online. And I took what I learned, and I started to provide it to businesses, and I did it for free. I literally went into those businesses and I said, "Yo, let me do, I'm not going to do the whole pitch, but let me just take care of your socials and everything, that helps you, your business grow online. And I'll do it for free. All you have to do is just pay for the ads." And I did it. And, some of it did really well actually. And I got a lot of experience out of it, but I couldn't fulfill, as you know, and that's why I, partnered up with you guys.
I think that's awesome. I'm pumped. Now, just to get back to my story, and I'll try to keep it brief. I don't want to bore everyone. So this is sort of like what happened. I was wrapping up school. I immediately got the advice to join a business management consulting firm. They were really big in the late 90s, early 2000s. Basically, look at it like a doctor's office for businesses. We would go in, analyze it, assess what's going on, and figure out like what needs to be improved. I got a job as legit a cold caller. They were like, all right, dude, you've been hitting the phones. We're not sending you out on the field yet. Here, get us some leads. I'm like, all right, let me just get my foot in the door.
Yeah.
Screw it. So I went in, would hit the phones. I'd set appointments. The analysts would go out, meet with the business owner.
Okay, yeah.
Get an assessment, bring it back, hopefully get an account. And what the company as a whole, what it would do is look at the business, try to find out where we could drive profitability, what we could improve, what we could cut back without impacting product quality or service quality. That's a big thing. People are always looking at their P&L, how to cut it, and they don't realize that they're ultimately screwing themselves.
Yeah.
So it's a very careful craft to go through a business and adjust things or cut things or improve things that are not going to impact product quality or service quality. That's very important.
So the big question from what you just said, did you get more, did you learn more from school or from getting that experience working with that company?
I want to say it's so if I were to put it in 3 sections, school is at the bottom.
Yeah.
The management consulting firm is right in the middle. Yeah. And then running my consultancy, helping businesses actually grow at the top, because that's real hands-on experience running a business.
When you worked for that business consultancy, did you that's when you started the company that you have now?
No, absolutely not. No. This is where I kind of got my
savviness.
Because I was 25, 26, and people would be like, dude, you're really young. Who are you to give business advice? And I was like, I worked for a company that was like a doctor's office for businesses. And I'll hit pause on my story for a second.
Yeah.
Guess what one of the most profitable businesses out there is? And
I would love to know.
I'll let the audience kind of think about it for a minute. Not software, not finance. One of the most profitable businesses that I've ever seen in front of my eyes. Drum roll. I don't know if you have a drum roll feature. Foam. F-O-A-M.
Oh, yes. I know. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Foam.
Like the stuff that's in cushions and, yeah.
I'll never forget it. We had a 5 o'clock meeting. It was like was this early in the morning.
With the company you have now, or
no? This is with the management consulting firm that I worked for. This was a different one that I worked for that allowed me to take the next step, the next level of a position where you are a pre-analyst. You're going out and you're interviewing business owners.
Yeah,
I went out with a senior guy that was training me. I'll never forget his name, Brian Kavanaugh. He's
we can blur that out if you want to.
No, it's fine. No,
okay. No, I don't.
Brian Kavanaugh. He always has a special place with me because he kind of like showed me the ins and outs of how to interact with business owners, because this was face to face. This was not over the phone.
Yeah.
So I had my little suit on, and he'd come out with me on the road, and it was a good experience. But he showed me the ins and outs. But we went out to Maine to go visit this foam company that manufactured foam. And we looked at his numbers.
Imagine thinking going into that business. I can't imagine what I'd be
It was
thinking.
one of the most profitable businesses ever.
Well, he if I remember right, he took recycling
soda bottles. He took friggin' soda bottles and made them into foam. Now, when you think about it, foam goes in chairs.
Yeah.
Foam goes in anything with foam.
Every Amazon package.
Right now in this room,
Yeah.
we have 1, 2, 3, all the packaging for that.
Everything.
The
Peanuts
camera
and stuff
equipment.
like that. Yeah.
It's all foam in different applications, from styrofoam to cushion foam to what we're looking at.
Yeah.
He literally took trash.
So
And
turned it into that. So my question is, so I don't really know how this industry works, and I don't know if you do, but did he get the recycling for free?
I don't know the exact logistics. Again, I was still young in the game, and I did not work directly with the consultants. I was the pre-analysis stage where I would go out there with my clipboard and take notes and ask them questions.
Yeah.
So you start out as a cold caller, you earn your stripes, and then you move up to like pre-analyst level. And this is where I was visiting 2 to 4 business owners a day, just asking them questions.
Yeah.
Hey, so what's your annual sales right now? What's your goals? What are your goals? Where do you want to be? What do you think's holding you back?
Yeah.
And they would share these things like, I'm having trouble staffing.
And then did you use those questions to kind of work the sales pitch and the deck?
So I would sell them an analysis.
Yeah.
I would say, hey, for $1,000, we'll analyze all your problems and we'll put together solutions for you.
Okay.
And I'd be like, sound fair? Is that something you want to do? And they would be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And I would bring on these accounts and they would have to pay a setup fee of $1,000. But I did that 2 to 4 times a day for many years. And that's where I learned a ton about business, where I could see, and when you talk to so many business owners, you'll see a trend. Okay, this person did this. This person hired too many people and overstretched themselves. Or this person got a business loan, burned through it without thinking about moving their product or service.
Yeah.
Like the cologne guy I told you.
Yeah.
You know, there was a guy that had...
All about,
there was a guy that invested $1 million and he got funding. He invested $1 million into
he
cologne.
never invested in selling it.
And he did not put aside some cash to move the product.
Yeah, see, I feel like people these days are smart enough. Hopefully, they're smart enough to know that that's not what you. How long ago was that cologne thing?
Oh God, that was like when I first started my consultancy in 2000. So this was probably 2009.
Yeah.
2008. We were in business.
A lot of stuff has changed since then.
Yeah. So I moved on to another. So when let me kind of go back. So prior to me meeting with the foam company, not phone, foam company, I was doing the cold calling for that other management consulting firm. I found a phone number. This is a crazy story. I found a phone number in the file cabinet of the major competitor.
Of the foam guy?
No, of the management consulting firm I worked for.
Oh, okay.
I found a phone number. It was handwritten, and I was like, I don't know, it must have been a sign. And it had the president's name on it and his email and phone number. And I was like, I just tucked it in my pocket, went home, sent him an email, tried to call him, and I was like, listen, because the company I was working for would not let me excel. They wanted me just hitting the phones. I wanted to move up.
Yeah.
I wanted to get out in the field, and they would just kind of...
Sometimes in those situations, I mean, you did it right. Sometimes you got to just take the reins and do it yourself.
They would just kind of treat me like shit. Like, yeah, dude, just keep hitting the phone. I'm like, all right, I appreciate hitting the phone. I love that stuff, but I wanted to move up.
You wanted to do more stuff. Yeah,
so I got this guy's phone number. I'll never forget. It was back in AOL. I looked up his AOL profile or something like that, and I hit him up a message, and he actually said, I'm going to have one of my guys call you. And
you get that feeling. Anyone who's in sales who's watching, when you get that response, you're like, oh my God.
Brian Kavanaugh.
Let's go.
Brian Kavanaugh called me.
Oh,
I'll never forget. It was a Sunday night, and he was having a full conversation with me.
Night.
He was full conversation eating food on the phone. Oh, all right. So, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's serious. He's like chewing food.
I mean, he's calling you on a Sunday night. I mean,
yeah. So I was all excited. I was like 22, 23. I forgot, but I was young. And I'm like, I want this job. He's like, you willing to put in the hard work, son? Blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, I am. He goes, all right, I want you to come out for an interview. And when I came out, when they saw me, you could tell that they were like, oh shit, this is a kid.
Because it's funny. Doesn't that story sound familiar?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, and I could relate to your story very much. It resonated with me because I dealt with those challenges of being a 22-year-old kid.
No one takes you serious.
Nobody takes you seriously. So I went out there and I could see their face and they were like, and they legally, they can't really say anything about your age.
Yeah.
So they said it like this. They're like, son, we appreciate your drive and ambition to work for a firm like us, but just to be frank, there's people, typical guys that qualify. No, they said it like this: the typical guys that work with us have a little gray behind their ears, and I was like, "Oh man, it's my age." So I literally not begged, but I was like, "I will do what I need to do to prove that I'm an asset to this company. I will work really hard."
Yeah.
And literally, like they looked at each other. I'll never forget the president of the company. There was no smoking in the building. He didn't give a shit. He's always smoking butts in the office. He's like,
all that. Yeah.
He's like, all right. It was old school. This was like the late 90s.
That dramatic scene.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? All right. We're going to have you join us, kid. And I'm like,
Were you the youngest guy working there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds so familiar to my story. I mean, I met you like just off a whim. I had been doing that marketing stuff that I was doing a good job, but I couldn't fulfill. It was just me working with 5 different businesses, pretty much working for free at that time. At that time, I was making a little bit of money because I was like, yo, I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm bringing you some traffic. Let me get paid a little bit. And that was nice, but I couldn't fulfill. And so when I met you and I found out that you did, you had a similar business, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I can get in with this guy. And
Yeah.
come to today, it's crazy how things work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
So yeah, and it's about the drive. If you have the drive, because I deal with so many people, oh dude, can I join your team? And they end up like not being serious.
Yeah.
They're, smoking weed or just and not to judge anyone that does that,
Yeah,
but
there's
I'm just
nothing
saying
wrong
like
with
just
that.
like
as long as it doesn't get in the way of your motivation.
like they're letting their recreational or their life get in between them and success, and that is more important than reaching a goal.
Yeah.
I can usually feel somebody out. There was something different about you. I was like, listen,
yeah,
man,
I remember you were like, I'm looking for my twin. I can be that twin.
I was like, I need my twin, someone that will work
Yeah.
night and day and grind and push
God.
and just focus on the goal.
Has it been a journey so
and
far?
nothing else, just the goal and hit it. So, you had that same drive that kind of reminded me of me when I was your age. So I'm like, all right. So I worked for this management consulting firm. This is when I was going out and visiting the businesses face to face. This was a new territory.
This is with the old company that you were working for.
Yes. Yeah. So like I had to scrounge some money together and I bought 4 suits from Men's Warehouse. You had to wear a suit. There was no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
I got 4 suits, I'll never forget, from Men's Warehouse.
Would you get like the gray, black, and then like the different combinations?
Yeah, I had to open up a credit card. I was living with my mom. I had to open up a Men's Warehouse credit card, and I got the shoes, the slacks, and all that stuff. I know today it's a different world where
I still like a suit.
well, no, things are more branded attire now, where you have the company name. It's a little bit more laid back, but back then it was suits. So I got my suits, went out on the road. Brian Kavanaugh trained me, showed me the ropes.
Your mentor in a sense.
Yeah. And I haven't spoken to him in a really long time. I hope he's doing well. But after that, I ended up moving on to high technology business development. So I went from being on the road to back on the phone. So I moved into, there were these companies that were linking up, and it paid very well. This is what got me very interested. I went from making X amount of dollars to much more opportunity by linking up very big brands, Cisco Systems, Adobe, Sony, just all these big brands that were paying executives like myself that were really good at biz dev, business development, and getting them or getting their target prospects to look at their lineup of technology for whatever upcoming season.
Okay, yeah.
For example, let's say there was a networks or switching technology and it worked seamlessly with Cisco Systems.
Yeah.
We would call like the IT directors or the CTOs and go, hey, we have this new technology. Hoping you guys can look at it. It's seamless. It'll work with your whole entire network and it will add X amount of efficiency. If we got them to say yes, we would then have our client go directly to them and present the technology. We would be paid a commission on that.
Yeah.
So I worked for this, I guess you could say one of the first in the industry. They're one of the innovators and very small company. This was, I want to say it was like 12 people or 15 people. There was on like a third floor of a little office park, and it was just very humble. But then I learned that there was this other company that was the leader in the industry, and I moved on to there, and this was a huge company. They were 200 people, great corporate culture. Actually, a lot of the people I still talk to there, and this was high technology marketing, biz dev, cold calling.
Yeah.
We were calling the prospects of our clients.
So before like you started the business now, you got a lot of experience in sales.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know from just, being on the road with you, doing a bunch of, calls and meeting with people in businesses, I've learned a lot about sales. I thought I knew a lot before, but like it's, I learned a lot from you. But, just to, add some value to people who are joining us today, like what are some like big virtues you should have when going into, doing cold calls? Let's say someone's starting up a sales position. I mean, from me personally, I've always gone back to confidence. I feel like when I'm confident, and now today I've done so many different tactics that make me really comfortable talking to people, because I remember when I first started, I would make a call and I'd be very anxious and I would be expecting the no. You know what I mean? I'd be hoping that they would say yes. I'm worried. You know, I was very anxious, and you know, I'd trip up on words, and I'd have to look for information and stuff. But what I've learned from making hundreds and probably thousands at this point calls and been in probably hundreds of meetings and stuff with different businesses, it's all about confidence, is what I think personally. Confidence and knowledge. Once you know what you're selling, you know the ins and outs, and you have the confidence, you portray that. You portray the passion. Oh, passion as well.
Yeah, it's a blend of that. It's confidence, passion, certainty, just truly believing in your product or service.
Because if you don't believe in the product or service, you can't portray that. And then the people who you're pitching it to just won't feel that.
That's a big thing. So what I did when I worked for that consulting firm, or even when I worked for the business development firm, I saw the success that they were driving their clients, and I became more and more of a believer. Like, oh wow, you know, this client just closed all these deals because of my meetings or whatever. And I actually, so this is where I kind of learned the craft of messaging.
Yeah.
So when I talk about messaging, and I use my skills that I've gained to this day. If we have a client and let's say they provide a service, a product, sometimes they talk about these like high level platitudes that really don't resonate with anyone. You have a very short amount of time to get someone's attention. I firsthand was on the phone with busy CTOs, busy directors of IT. They don't have time for bullshit. They want to know why are you calling? What do you got? So like, that's where I learned about messaging. The first 3 seconds, bang. Talk about what you're going to solve for them. Talk about a frustration, highlight a need or a want quick.
That's something that I've learned too, you know, throughout the years is like you can't ramble. You can't sometimes it makes sense in certain situations, you know, I'll get to the point, but then in others, I'll talk to them. I'll ask them, questions about their business, but I will never be like, hey, how's it going? You know, I'm doing really good. Just had a great weekend. Like, no, I want to get right into the point, but I always want to keep, you know, their attention on their business and how it's going to affect their business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll ask questions like, what kind of numbers you guys doing? What did you do last year? How long have you been at those numbers? Like, can you see this helping your business? You know, that sort of stuff.
You want to highlight a need or a want in the first 3 seconds.
But like indirectly, I feel like sometimes you can't be too direct because then it's like, oh, you sound like, you know what I mean?
Based on the product. So for example, there was an energy management software company that I worked with, and I was calling very busy facility managers of very big buildings and groups of buildings and properties. And these guys don't have time to chit chat.
Yeah.
And I literally had to craft the messaging in a way that would catch their attention.
Yeah.
And this is where I started to notice that I actually have a viable, marketable skill. When this company called the president of the company I worked for and was like, what is this guy saying? Because what I did was I took the energy management software's pure solution, the thing that they're going to solve, and I would blurt it out in the first 3 seconds on the phone. I would call the facilities manager and say, hey, how do you feel about saving X amount % on your energy bill a month? Is that something you want to learn more about? Bang, boom. They would be like, what? How? I just led with, how would you feel about reducing your energy cost by X %? It's been a while. I can't remember the percentage. But they would lean in and go, tell me more.
Yeah.
Versus, hi, my name's John Smith, and I'm here to bug you.
Sounded like a robot.
Yeah. So they're gonna tune you out. I would just go, boom, because when I worked for the company that hired us because their internal biz dev department was shit.
Yeah.
They couldn't get in the door.
Yeah.
And they handed it to me. They were like, what can you do for the messaging? And I was like, doing my Rain Man thing. And I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And it was a huge success.
Yeah.
And this is where I became really confident on crafting messaging in a way to entice people.
It's funny. When I first started working with you, I found myself very anxious, as I might have said before, but I had a couple different, ways that I would get out of that anxiety. But I think I've probably told you this before. I would hit the phone probably 100 times a day, and I would be, anxious, and I wouldn't feel right. And what I did was I found out what was making me anxious, and it's just, I don't really know how to put it into words, but it's just the person that I'm talking to. And so what I did was I tried my hardest to find the phone number to like some of the biggest like CMOs or you know, CFO, whatever, CEO, and I'd call them. I wouldn't think about it. I just called them. And these guys might be working for, you know, a business who does $1 billion a year, something that, you know, household names. I'd get on the phone with them and I'd pitch to them, and I might fuck up, but you know, I was thinking at the time, they're probably not going to remember me. So I'd call them. And I did that about 5 times, and I started to realize, you know what, I have nothing to lose right now.
Yeah.
You know, and then I started to gain that confidence. I put myself in a situation that I was afraid of, and I realized it wasn't that big of a deal. And you know, today it's like when I get on the phone, I'm very confident. I'm very direct. You know, my time's valuable as much as their time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's all about the sound of your voice. I always take the line from Boiler Room. They say, act as if you're the CEO of X amount of company.
Yes.
It's how you talk, how you carry yourself.
Yes, because when I first started, you know, I was young then. I was really young, and I was from no one knew who I was. When I was calling someone, they had no idea. I'm just this kid calling who's trying to sell them something. But once I started to kind of, you know, position myself like I'm, you know, well known, or that I work with this big product that no one else has, or you know, something like that, something that, you know, it makes me, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah. And honestly, it's the level of confidence that somebody has on the phone is in the way you carry yourself in person. Like, for example, when I'm out on the road and my biz dev guy or you or whatever, somebody says, hey, I got a bite. This guy wants to talk. When I go out as a consultant, you know, with a 15-year track record, I let that just ooze out on the table when I'm meeting with people. They can feel that, like, this guy has done some shit.
Sometimes it's funny because sometimes we'll meet with people who are a little bit more like laid back, and they're probably already interested in stuff, and you'll just be like, so like, it just gets so into it.
I can be intense. I can be intense, but
it's not a bad thing. It's
I'm very passionate because over the years I've seen a lot of our clients, their lives change for the better. Some of them are humble and don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But when you see that they were driving a Toyota before before they brought you,
now they're driving like an SVJ, something crazy.
No. I mean more like, you know, something more like they're driving a Toyota Corolla. 3 years later, you're meeting with them, and now they have like S-Class Mercedes in the driveway.
Okay. Yeah.
I've seen people like with crazy jewelry, like, you know, the owner's wife, or like Gucci shoes and stuff like that. You notice those things.
Yeah.
You don't say nothing, but they're like, yeah, your program's working, things are great. And you just see like the little signs of success, or they move to a bigger facility.
And honestly, that's one of the biggest things that I like about this industry.
It's rewarding.
It's so rewarding. And it's not even about, like, you know, aside from all the money you make, it's like, when you see a business grow from, you know, struggling to like trying to grow, can't figure it out, and then they make, you know, a ton of money and they're doing really well and everything's automated, and it just feels really good that you had part of that you know, that growth.
It creates jobs and it gives people opportunity, and it provides a better quality of life for them and their family. Like when we consult and we're out there in the field and we're guiding our clients to success, it's not about, you know, unfortunately, there are some people who just kind of look at their clients like a piggy bank. We're looking at it like, what can we do to get them to the next level or help them reach their goals? And then when you do a really good job for them, the money will follow.
The
money will follow. But you got some people that kind of think with the wrong mindset, and they are thinking money over, like they're asking too much up front. Yeah.
When people are building a business, I've learned this not the hard way, but I've learned this. I've learned to value this. You know, I used to chase the money. Not really. I used to work for free, and then I was asking for money. But I found that, you know, trying to work on a relationship with people, you know, that is where, you know, you become more successful. I find that a lot of the relationships that I have, it brings up, you know, investment opportunities. It brings up other business opportunities. It's just, it's all about the relationship you have with that person.
Yeah, relationships are huge. You want to go into each situation very genuine and very honest, and very upfront
Yeah.
with and here's the thing, you don't want to yes them to death.
No.
If they're saying some dumb shit,
Consult for them. Yeah.
dude, if they're saying some dumb shit, you got to like gently say, listen, and
Yo,
you want to
chill
just
out.
give them a few,
Fall back.
fall back.
Yeah.
You want to give them a few case studies.
Yeah.
Like commoditization.
Yep. Yeah.
Commoditization
You
is
hate
one of
that
my just nemesis, our arch nemesis, just the worst thing in the world is commoditization. It is when your
It's
business
the death of some businesses.
it is when your business is nothing different than another business or competitor.
It's nothing more than a comparable number.
And your only difference is price.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a price war.
Comparable price. Yeah.
Yeah. So decommoditization is something I'm passionate about. And when I hear a client trying to commoditize what I do,
Oh, you go crazy.
I'm like, they're like, yeah, dude, I know this guy in his basement that will do it for half. And I'm like, all right, so, okay, first of all, does this guy in his basement have 20 employees?
Yeah.
Does this guy in his basement have 50 employees?
years. Yeah.
15 years experience. Does this guy in his basement have a track record? Nothing against people.
Or not
that work
even
out
that.
in
I
the
mean,
basement.
yeah, no,
nothing against them. I'm just saying when they try to commoditize and I'm being compared to somebody that has not turned a company from X to multi-millions in growth, it's like you got to step back and look at that. You can't just say orange. I'm just going to shop on price. Those are commodities. Corn. Those are considered commodities. So
Gas,
commoditization is like the worst. That's when you, as a consultant or an entrepreneur or a business owner or whatever, you want to stand out. You want to
Yeah, I was going to say, this is kind of a good segue to, whenever you're starting a business, you got to make yourself stand out. When you are, the same as everyone else doing it, there's always competition in any business. If there isn't, then you're going to be a billionaire. But when you're doing something that is, saturated, like real estate, for example. I mean, look at how saturated that is, or construction.
It's insane.
You got to do something different. You got to have a differentiating factor that's going to look good to your potential customers, to your consumers. With every, with the product, an e-commerce product. I mean, that's one, piece that can make you successful.
Exactly.
Is,
standing out.
Standing out.
You want to stand out, and
that's probably a given, but
you don't just want to be visible. You want significant attributes or features or whatever about your business.
It doesn't even have to be about the product. Exactly. It's about the business, about your structure. Yeah.
You want clients to go, what? I'd be stupid to not move forward.
Yeah.
That's like,
and we've heard
that's
not to.
Yeah. That is like, so just to kind of get back to my story is after I worked while I worked for the second,
when you started this business,
the second business development company, while I was working for the second business development company, I had a baby on the way, my son Alex, and I know I wanted to start a side business. I wanted to get something going, and my really, really, really good friend was into digital marketing and stuff like that, and SEO.
Started with SEO. Yeah, I was gonna say
all that stuff, and driving massive amounts of traffic to websites.
But he didn't even realize what he was doing.
He was doing it.
My question is real quick before you keep going. Did you ever start other businesses, or was this the only one that you started? Like, did you try?
Everyone thinks that what our consultancy was like the first thing we did, and no, it wasn't. We had a few.
You don't have to get
like
into
belly
it.
flops. No, I'll talk about it. So like the first thing, which was incredibly, and this is like everybody learns. Everybody.
Yeah,
has
I mean,
mistakes.
please.
So we had a voiceover.
Oh yeah, you told me about this. Yeah.
So we had a voiceover business because I was always told, "Hey, dude, you got a really good voice. You should do voiceovers." So literally, my really good friend Jay was creating a website for the voiceover sales, and then I would say you were like XYZ cleaning. Mm-hmm. I would literally get on a microphone like this. And I had some of the soundproof stuff, and I would literally in a mini booth, I would say, "Hello, thank you for calling." I'd be like, "Thank you for calling XYZ Cleaning. You
have a pretty good voice for it.
Your one-stop shop for a clean home or a clean office. For more information, feel free to visit our website." I would do stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. I said I could do the little recording, and I'd sell it. Then it kind of hit me, and then this is when I nerd out on business. I go, this is just a one-time sale. I have to keep selling. I go, this is really frustrating. And what really ticked me off is I did a really nice voiceover for someone. They ended up using it, but never paying me.
Yep.
So I became very frustrated, and I just said, you know what? I don't like this one-time sale thing. This isn't my thing. I'm not interested. So we shifted gears. Jay's like my right-hand man. I trust him. I trust him with everything. Very highest level of integrity out of anybody.
No, he's a really great guy.
Anybody I've ever known.
He's one of those gems.
Yeah, highest level of integrity. So I trusted him. So I partnered up with him, and we moved on to another thing. I'll never forget. It was called Fingertip Resource.
Fingertip.
Oh my God! It was.
When was this? Around what time?
God, what year was this? This was 2005.
Okay.
It was like December 2005.
So what is this Fingertip Resource?
Fingertip Resource was a play on remember the 9X symbol for going through the yellow pages? Remember the symbol
You're talking to someone who grew up with an iPhone.
Man, so like I'm dating myself again. I'm dating myself again where the phone books were a thing, and like there was a brand called 9X that had their logo was a finger going through the phone book. And I was like, wow, maybe that's the symbol for directories. So online directories were very hot back then. So if you want to look up a business.
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
So we were like, yeah, let's make an online directory with no ads, or had some, I forgot the business model. Oh, it was kind of like Google, like where someone would pay for the top spot.
It was all online.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was a pure directory. And this is even, dude, I even think this is before there was a web directory for the phone. I'm not sure. It's all like a gray memory. But long story short is there was a guy that owed some favors to Jay, and we needed some heavy back-end development work.
Yeah.
So Jay knew how to build websites, do SEO, all that stuff. But the back-end programming and the database work wasn't really his thing. Yeah. So he had a friend that was going to help us do all that, and the guy just flaked out. Like he didn't have time to move forward, and we just kind of scrapped the idea because it was development heavy. So what got us to start the agency was kind of funny. Google became like a thing. It was like, oh yeah, Google ads and SEO and stuff like that. And just in conversation, Jay was mentioning like, oh yeah, I drive hundreds of thousands of people to this website that was a hobby. A hobby, not making any money. Dude was driving millions of people to a website. Yeah. And I'm sitting there and I'm realizing, wait a minute, people pay for this.
If I remember correctly, the company that you worked for actually paid like a lot of money for what
one of my employers
as a hobby.
Yeah, one of my employers were paying big cash for showing up on Google, and it kind of everything clicked and came together. And I went to him and I said, why don't we start a digital marketing agency? Let's do that. Like, you're really, really good at this shit. And he's like, he's a very calculated, methodical thinker. Yeah. I'm the, hey, let's do it. Whoa, let's go.
No, I wouldn't say.
Let's go. Now, whoa. And then like, he's more of the, he's the yin to my yang. Yeah. So I'm grateful for him kind of making me think twice about things. Yeah. Because I don't know where shit would be because I'm like, again, I'm the go.
Having a partner in a business can be, you have to find the person that you really trust, that you can really count on for stuff. Yeah. Because when you find yourself in a situation, and we've seen this with a lot of businesses, where there's going to be a partner who, sees a lot of money and they just start spending, have a great time. And then there's the other guy who's, who's trying to keep the business up. Who's trying to grow the business. And it's not even that situation alone, but it's, you gotta find the right person.
We see it. We see it on a day-to-day basis. We'll talk to a business owner, and then the other business owners
we don't need that. We don't like that, but it's
like when we're like, okay, what are your true intentions? Are you just worried about what you can't buy during your investment to grow the thing that made you where you're at now? Yeah. It's like, I always tell people, look at it like it's crops. You put the seed, you give it water, give it sun, it's going to grow. Yeah. But when it's growing, you got people that are grabbing the sprouts and they're like, give me those sprouts. And you're like,
such a weird.
I know, but you're like, I'm giving you an analogy where if they just let those damn sprouts grow and produce more yield, fruit tree. Like, let it grow, dude. Don't grab the sprouts. Yeah. I'm suddenly thinking of like sandwiches with like sprouts in it. But yeah, so we deal with that all the time. We see the business owner that really wants to grow. They have a business partner whose intentions are, you get the other business partner that's thinking about, well, what could I buy with that money? Or
and they might not be thinking that, but it's around the same thing. But it's always, whenever you're in business with and you have a partner, you have to make sure you can trust that partner with your life. I mean, you have to make sure you can count on that person.
I had a potential client that was referred by a friend of mine. Knew a business owner that was kind of struggling. He was doing okay. He needed to do better. I went out there. The date of the contract signing, he's like, well, I've been thinking about it, and I could buy another piece of equipment with this investment. And I'm like, but your problem is getting the people
so that you could use
the equipment. I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to do things the way I'm doing them. I respectfully bowed out, and I do not wish this on anybody. And when I say these stories on this show, I do not revel or bask or enjoy people's failures. But he's out of business now. And I hate when that happens. There's times where I feel so bad for a business owner. I wish I could just do it for free, but I have a ton of employees.
Yeah.
I can't do that. We've done some charity things for people. Like I had one person that was an aspiring vocal instructor. She's a huge success now. We gave her a very special rate for consulting and stuff like that, and guided her towards success. But we can't do that for everybody.
You actually just brought up a good point. I always found it interesting working with you. Despite how long you've been in the business and how easily you could probably automate, what you do, you still continue every single day going out. And honestly, you're a machine, man. It's something that I want to have, or that I've tried to have. And, I've done a good job motivating myself, getting out there every day. But, I do find myself wanting to just chill out some days.
Well, that's natural. You're human.
Yeah, I know. But, you could easily automate what you do, but you don't.
Yeah.
I'm curious why.
I could automate what I do?
Yeah, you could have.
You lose the human touch. I know people that do that, and they do the bullshit Zooms and the funnels. There's nothing wrong with all that stuff, but there's no human touch.
Yeah.
Literally, I'll go out in the field.
Well, not necessarily automate it, but all I'm saying is after 15 years, I know a lot of people who, maybe they're looking for an acquisition on their business or something like that. They'll get out of working. They'll get out of it. They'll hire someone else to do exactly what they do. And, they'll kind of sit back and let it kind of run. I feel like you're passionate about what you do.
We're a boutique, we're considered a boutique company. We're very hands-on. You're not going to be treated as a number. I'm not always about growing to the point where it's all about the money, even though revenue and profitability are important.
They're extremely
it's a foundation of business and entrepreneurship. But find me one business that has grown to massive, massive numbers, and those customers feel like they're special to the company. Are they getting the attention that they need? And again, I'm not making a blanket statement on all companies, but when you get
I think we can talk about marketing companies.
Yeah,
there's a lot of companies out there who just from talking with customers of other companies. They're corporate. They'll take a couple days to answer this and that. So I understand where you're coming from 100%.
I have a really good client of ours. It's a law office, and their slogan is that they're small enough to care.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like a boutique law firm, and they're small enough to care, and they're big enough to get the job done.
Yeah.
So that's their thing.
Yeah.
I kind of always admired that. So I want to be small enough to provide the hands-on, relationship-driven experience for the clients, where if I'm doing something on a Saturday or whatever and a client wants to chat with me, I'll answer the phone, I'll talk to them, and I'm very down to earth. A lot of CEOs sort of have this chest out, attitude, I'm too good to talk to, and that's part of how I wanted to stand out and be different.
Yeah.
I wanted to be different, and I wanted to be down to earth. I wanted to get scrappy with clients and get down to the nitty gritty and find out, hey, what's going on, dude? Talk to me. What's up? I'll talk to them in a very down-to-earth, real way, real business roundtable, which is kind of like it spawned this whole idea of like, I hate the bullshit.
Yeah.
I hate the fakeness.
Yeah, and some people might say that, still working in a company, you don't give it room for a lot of growth, but I haven't seen an issue in this situation whatsoever.
And I like to be genuine. I like to be down to
I
earth.
think you do it in the best way possible.
Yeah. And I'll like, if a client's having an issue, I'll be there. I'll be there and I'll help them. I'll help them push through something. I've had, clients that came to me and they were like in confidence, like, hey, dude, like I got stage 4 cancer. Like I can't continue my business. And they're sitting there looking at their contract with me, and I'll do the right thing. I'll rip it up. Yeah, I'll rip it up. So I've done the right thing in certain situations, and I've kind of worked with clients. But back to my story where we decided to start a digital marketing consultancy, growth consultancy, purely helping businesses drive growth. So back in the day, SEO was it. Social media was not a thing. So it was mainly having a web presence. And when someone's Googling, you want to be found. That was the main beginning of our company. And the agreement was I was sales and marketing. Jay handled all the fulfillment and the strategy. I would be involved with strategy too, but we would work together. It was just me and him.
Yeah.
We did that for a couple years. I was literally grinding, going out to my.
That's how you do it.
I was going out to my car during my lunch break. I would brown bag it, pack a lunch, and I would make some calls from my car. And eventually,
God, how things have changed.
And I got to a point where my sales were so good at the company that I worked at that they turned their cheek. They knew I was building a separate company. It was not. It did not compete.
No.
So they were like, okay, they let it slide.
Yeah.
Couple haters on my team were like, oh, he's running a business. And they were like, you just basically leave him the hell alone. Like he's getting the numbers. Yeah. So I was like literally doing my job and running a business on the side. And I hit a point where I could go full time with the business. I was tired of meeting people at Starbucks.
Yeah.
We put aside enough money to get our first office. Actually, it's in this building. Down on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, it's a little
400 square foot, 400 square feet. We were so excited. We only had a couple of clients, and me and Jay shared a desk. Very humble beginnings.
Yeah. So, real quick, I just want to mention, we just came back from a little bit of intermission, but we're back, and I remember you were saying. You guys had just gotten your first office. It was the really small, like cube-sized office, humble beginnings sort of stuff.
Yeah, humble beginnings. So we got our first office. My son's mother got upset about me spending that money. She's like, "Oh my God, that's a car payment." And I was like, "Listen, it's an investment. I'm sick of meeting people at coffee shops.
Yeah.
We're not getting taken seriously."
Yeah.
So what we did was we got the office. Me and Jay were sharing, the same desk. And he was working a full-time job and he was doing the stuff at night, but then like he'd come on the weekends. And
so you guys were still working. You guys still had a full-time job.
When I went full-time with the business, I was not employed anymore.
So you had left the consulting and you went right to.
I left the high technology marketing industry to go start a marketing consultancy, all digital.
So back then, how long did it take you guys to start, making money and that sort of stuff?
All right, so we weren't making shit in the beginning, just enough to like pay rent and make a little bit of money. Dude, I think the first year we actually made any money was like $35,000.
That first year?
Yeah, our full on, it wasn't shit.
Yeah.
And I literally, so we want to talk about motivation. I was motivated to take the company to the next level. So our office is in a downtown, small little downtown area. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking on my feet. I'm like, okay, these little shops here, most of them, their digital sucks. They need help. Let me make a, revitalized downtown America or downtown Nashua type of program. So I went around to the local businesses in downtown Nashua and I said, here's what we're doing.
You went to just like door to door?
Door to door, just knocking on doors. Just like, hey, this is what we're doing. We want to revitalize the businesses in downtown Nashua. We want to put together a digital package program, website, social media support, search engine optimization, video production, photography, blah, 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 blah.
And how many competitors did you guys have back then in this area?
In this area, there was
Because back then you weren't
All
working
right, so
with
when you
national
say
brands.
competitors, you're talking about, the guy in his basement that knows IT but knows how to do a couple, web things, and
Yeah. So when
real agencies, real marketing companies, there was probably five strong competitors.
Yeah.
And some of them I respect very much and actually like very much.
Yeah.
And then like some of them were just kind of a different model.
Yeah.
And we wanted to stand out. So literally I analyzed how the industry worked, and I said, okay, what are the things that annoy customers of digital marketing companies?
Mm-hmm.
Like what annoys the clients? For
Yeah.
example, hidden fees,
Yep.
weird policies that are not in the customer's favor, like things like that. Like, oh, you don't own anything. It's IP.
Yeah.
We can't, I looked at across the board, and this is how we distinguished ourselves. This is how we made ourselves
Different
unique.
from everyone else. Yeah.
Because what people do is they copy the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
They go work for another agency and they copy the playbook.
And then
They pull out the same BS policies, the same trickery and stuff that didn't sit well with me.
Mm-hmm.
So if people at home, if you're trying to like put together a business idea, like try to like analyze what you're like, look at what you're doing and what you're selling and how you're selling it and the whole entire experience from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
How does it make you feel? Pretend that you're a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Pretend you're
Put
a customer.
yourself in their shoes.
Put yourself in their shoes. Yeah. People don't do that. They think about me. How much money can I make?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking about the long-term strategy.
You're a perfect example. The money's always going to come. You guys have done very well with with what you've built.
Exactly. Yeah. So, when you think about, okay, how's this going to make the customer feel? How is it going to impact their wallet? How long can they sustain this? Mm-hmm. You lower the barrier of entry. You make it easy for them to work with you. Don't ask for exorbitant fees. Like we would have competitors that would ask for like $60,000, $70,000 down on a basic program, big lump sums of cash that are tough for a small business to come up with.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. We said, okay, it's going to be a flat subscription rate like to work with us.
Yeah.
Literally full consulting, full growth strategy, everything that they would get from a top tier firm that would be asking for exorbitant amounts of cash. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, we were literally working with
small businesses,
small mom and pops. Some of them are still our client.
Yeah.
We have a family owned piano shop in town. They're still a client of ours, still.
Yeah.
Some of the businesses got sold or shut down for retirement reasons, but it was something that I had to figure out very quickly because we had to get sales.
Yeah.
So I put together this program, a revitalized downtown program that was a special discounted full digital marketing program that was priced in a way that was affordable for them. Mm-hmm. It was something that they could digest. Yeah. They could not go,
not
oh my
shocked,
God,
sticker
oh my
shock.
God, I can't afford this or something like that.
That's a good way to, that's a good way to grow. When you get a lot of those accounts on there, they stay around for a long time. They may be the small guys, but they stick around for a long time, that sort of stuff. I feel like now we have bigger accounts too, but that always comes, as long as you have a good platform in your business.
Yeah. So
foundation.
Yeah. Video became a big thing back then. So we pioneered the web video thing. This is before. So we were trying to push businesses to use YouTube back when people were using YouTube to post cat videos. I was
going to say, monetization wasn't even a thing with YouTube back then, I bet.
Yeah, people were posting cat videos or funny videos. It was not like the validated, proven business platform that it is today.
Yeah.
We were trying to get businesses to take advantage of YouTube.
Yeah.
So that kind of put us on the map. We actually discovered, and I'm going to date myself to other digital marketers out there, is we pioneered, or one of the pioneers of video search engine optimization. Mm-hmm. We figured out a way to get videos to show up on search.
Yeah.
So when somebody has a Google search, they're finding video.
Yeah, you guys were nationally noticed for that.
Yeah, dude. That's how I met the guys that gave us the AI.
Yeah. See, now that you brought that up, I think that's what, there's so many marketing agencies and the market is saturated, but bringing me back to the point of making yourself different, I think we provide, I mean, that technology is amazing. We're building a business around it just because of how successful it is.
Oh yeah, it's going to have its own name, its
Yeah.
own freaking address. It's going to have its own. We're going to turn We're going to turn it into its own technology.
I mean, it's worth it. I mean, that, that technology is amazing, but I kind of want to get into, when people, one thing I've noticed a lot is when people start their own business, they can't find the motivation to keep going. Maybe the money isn't coming, maybe they have some bumps in the road and that's all normal stuff. But, one thing is the motivation to keep going, the motivation to find yourself freedom, financial freedom.
Yep.
I mean,
so my motivation was
crazy. You stay motivated. I've never seen someone like it.
Hey, my motivation was having a newborn baby in a crib.
That's true. Yeah. You've always told me, you've always told me, like, when you first got the nice car or whatever, put yourself in situations where you're uncomfortable with money, because then it'll kind of force you to work for it.
Yeah. So like, I'll never forget. I was kind of always, I grew up, blue collar, conservative, don't spend too much money. And I no bullshit. I used to drive a Honda. I used to just drive a Honda.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And yeah, but like I pulled up and there was a consultant that we were working with on a project. And he came to me and he was like, "Why are you driving that piece of shit?" And I was like, "What? What do you mean? It's good on gas." And he's like, "Dude, no one's going to take you seriously
Driving that car.
driving that."
And I've ran into some
And
situations
he
like
pointed at his BMW and he said to me, and he knew I was young. I was probably 20, I think I was like 27, 28 at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like giving me guidance. He was an older guy. And he goes, "Look, dude, I drive this BMW." He goes, "When I pull up to a client, I want to be taken seriously."
Yeah.
He goes, "You're not. Regardless of how much money you're saving or think you're saving, you're actually losing money because you do not look the part that's going to attract someone to want to work with you."
Yeah.
And now, as horrible as that sounds, and it's like, oh my God, you can't judge. It's the real way
It's
people
crazy.
think.
I mean, it may not be the best thing, but like when I've seen it firsthand. When
Yeah.
you pull up in a fucking dope BMW, something that's a little rare,
Yeah.
they look outside, they see the car, and they're like, oh, and their whole demeanor changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Their entire demeanor changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's that kind of goes back to how you position yourself.
Jonathan remembers this story. Yeah, man, humble beginnings. So like I had to learn. So I didn't know. So I found a used 7 Series that was a great price on it. It was like $25,000. I was like, all right, let me step it up. Let me get my little black 7 Series. And then, I got a nicer watch. Just when I'm out there in the field, I just look the part.
Yeah.
And I would go out on meetings, bring on 1 client, 2 clients, and I would strive on being different, standing out, not doing the things that the other agencies are doing. So I would try to bring that monthly investment that they would need to make with our growth strategy, the smallest as possible. But I wouldn't want to be the cheapest game in town, because then you become a commodity and you're comparing yourself to people that really don't do a good job. So they're not really a competitor.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, so what's the going rate for this? What's the going rate for that? Let me take the things that annoy clients, and let me not do those things.
Yeah.
So because our program was so unique, like they would look at our program, I'd be like, all right, it's a full consulting program. We're going to grow your business, but we're not going to charge you hourly.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I was like, there's no hourly billing. We were going to do what we need to do to take your business to the next level. End of story.
Yeah.
People resonated with that. They were like, yeah, let's do this program. Let's grow the business. So 1 client, 2 client, 3 clients, then we could afford some employees. I hired a content writer. But aside from the video SEO, which really put us on the map, gave us national attention, we made some relationships that are responsible for some of the amazing products that we have now that are not available to the public.
Yeah, hearing about all the stories, from, like you're saying now, when you guys first started the company, what you guys had provided, I mean, what we have now is just insane. It's incredible. It's crazy because, you'd never think that, in the area that we are, you'd think that, what we provide, we're a company out in New York City in the top of a big building and this and that. It's really cool. It's interesting how that works. But yeah, what you guys provide now back, compared to what we had back then, it's just, it's incredible. The growth is awesome.
Yeah. So we grew to a point where we were dominating for video SEO. I was kind of friends with some people in the industry that were also doing that stuff.
Did you see a lot of growth when you guys were, mentioned for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was some couple groups out there
Like
that
out of the state,
they mentioned us online, and then our phone blew up. We got phone calls from all around the country, which includes the guy that gave us the AI. That's how I met him. He needed help on a couple projects. He needed some consulting, and then we made that contact, and then eventually he became a friend. And just in passing, you know, a while ago, he was like, hey, by the way, we're doing this big thing with, you know, not to name names, but he's big brands, Mercedes and a few other big brands. And he was like, hey, you know, and I borderline begged him. I said, what can I do to get this AI? And we worked out a deal, and now our consultancy is now like the exclusive distributor of this ability.
Yeah, working with some pretty big companies.
Yeah. So to get back to the story, another tipping point was, you know, the success of any business or consultancy is not only the people, the process, or the technology. One thing that put us on the map was we hired
some of the best in each category.
Well, Jay Spencer is really good at SEO, but we met a guy that was really good at building validation when it comes to websites. And he had a track record, and he turned a company from doing 3 million to 15 million. And I'll never forget, I got that email and I heard rumors about this guy. I was in the gym, and there's a guy from high school, and he's like, dude, you still doing that Search Pro thing? And I said, yeah. And he goes, there's this guy killing it. I think it was Merrimack. He's like, yeah, he's over in Merrimack, blew this company up to 15 million. The name of the company stayed in the back of my head. And fast forward maybe a year after my buddy said that to me in the gym, no lie, I get an email from this guy. Hey, dude, I'm looking for a job in digital marketing. Are you hiring? You guys seem really credible. I'd love to work with you. Comes in for an interview. He asked for an astronomical salary. I was like, It was very discouraging.
How early in this?
I know exactly when this was. This was 2010.
And you started in
2007.
Okay.
So 2010, I got
pretty early.
I got this rock star sitting in front of me, asking me for a crazy, insane salary, and I was like, okay, put your thinking cap on. How can I get this guy to join my team? And I said, okay, what kind of work environment do you want? Let's not talk about money. What kind of work environment do you want? He's like, dude, I'm sick of the commute. I want to work from home.
He was ahead of the time.
And then he said something critical that helped me get this talent.
Yeah.
So to get to the topic of the video, we're talking about what makes a company successful is not only like technology and process, is the talent, the people that you hire. Hire the best people you can.
And figure out a way to get them to work with you. Yeah.
So this guy came in, not your typical SEO guy, covered in tats, spiked hair.
Wait, stop.
You would never expect that.
Wait.
Redo what you just said.
So this guy, the rock star sitting in front of you, spiked hair.
Just rock star level talent in front of you. He's got it all tatted up, spiky hair, great attitude. He's still with us. He's awesome.
It's funny. Some of the smartest guys have the weirdest looks sometimes.
Yeah. I didn't expect that. Like, cause you would think, okay, typical digital marketing guy, he's a nerdy guy. This guy's, salt of the earth. He's hilarious. I consider him a friend, very good friend.
Really good guy.
And he's like, yeah, man, I want all this money, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, what else can we talk about? And he's like, non-competes. Okay, so his last employer didn't allow him to do any side work. Your hands are tied. When your hands are tied, as like an employee, you cannot do anything on the side. You can't have any clients or anything that's going to distract you.
Yeah.
So I said to him, what do you think you could make if I didn't give you a non-compete? And he was like, at least X, which was kind of close to what he was asking. So I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to go in for the kill. I was like, all right, X amount of dollars, no non-compete, you can work virtually. And he's like, you know what? And he took it. Kid's doing really well. He owns like 3 different businesses.
Yeah.
He's down in Miami just killing it, dude.
So you would say that another part of, growth when it comes to growing a business is hiring people, that are the best, that have a good...
the best of the best. Our secret was working out deals with really top talent.
Yeah.
Special deals.
Which we've done a great job.
So I said, I'm like, dude, I will feed you work. It will never dry up because sales is something I'm good at. I'll feed you work. You can go do your own thing. The world's your oyster, but don't forget about us. So I would have this top-notch talent, which allowed me to be very competitive when it comes to pricing.
Yeah. And people, I just want to tap in real quick. And people can do that these days. I know that a lot of people are trying to get into marketing and they're trying to get into different types of, businesses. Maybe it's sales. Like I guarantee, someone who's listening right now, if you're younger, if you want that experience, do exactly what I did. Go to someone who's doing what you want to do, already. They already have a really good business going. Go to them and say, I want to do this for you, non-compete, do it. Everyone's working, out of office now. Everyone's working remote. And I guarantee you, it'll go well. Either, you might not get the job, but you have a really good connection, or you get the job, you get the experience, you're working for this company, doing what you want to do, you make your own time. But at the same time, I feel like more people need to know that opportunity is there. You don't always have to go and work for a company. Exactly. You can partner with them. And so it seems like that's what, you've done for a couple rock stars in your company.
Yeah, and even with like vendors and stuff like that, I would find the best people to partner up with, and I'd negotiate a very special deal. And I always explain to them, I'm like, dude, I'm working with a variety of businesses. I'm not working with Sony. Like I don't have the bulk of my clients are not the $20 million a month type of client. I'm working with down to earth, everyday entrepreneurs that want to build their business and they have the drive to do better. So when I built that team member, then we got put on the map for search engine optimization.
Yeah.
Where we were getting people insane rankings, insane traffic organically. And then our team grew. There was enough revenue to grow and hire more people. And I'll never forget, I think it was 2014, 2015, we moved to a 4,500 square foot office, which is where we're at now. And today, we have close to
25, 30 employees working with you, right?
Yeah, and we have close to 200 active clients, and all of those clients we track and we provide strategy and tactics to help them stay on that steady course of growth. Because like when it comes to trying to grow your business, it's not a one-shot deal. It's something that needs to be maintained. It needs to be nurtured. It's not something that I'm just going to do it once.
Yeah.
People sometimes, like when we're talking to a prospective client, they think like, I'll try this out. I've had people, I'll try it out for a month. And I'm like, dude, this is a living, breathing thing.
Yeah.
Basically, if you got your lights on, if you have your lights on and you're running as a business, you need to continuously improve and continuously grow.
But that's a part of sales. We got to help people understand that.
Yeah.
That social media and, all this other different marketing strategies and advertising, it's constant maintenance. It's not just a one-time thing where you put out a campaign and it's like, oh, you made $1 million. It's not like that. There's a lot to it, especially when you want to do it right.
Exactly.
I'm getting it's almost time from the people behind the cameras.
It's almost time to wrap up.
Yeah, but no, this was a great first episode. I'm feeling really good about this. Thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited. We're going to be dropping an episode every Friday. Anything else? You're going to be able to listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and pretty much anywhere that you're able to watch a podcast or listen to a podcast. You're going to be able to watch it on YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, check us out.
Anything you want to close it out with?
Yeah, this is our first episode. I know we're not going to have shit for followers or viewers right now, but hey, it's a good starting point.
We're going to get somewhere. I can tell this is we're going to make sure that this gets really big one day. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, we'll knock the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for Hey dude, it's real.
I get it.
It's real business roundtable.
It's going to get some natural growth too.
It's real business roundtable. There's this is like unfiltered real stuff. There's no posturing, pretending, or bullshitting.
Yeah, check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, anywhere you can listen or watch to a podcast. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Subscribe. Show us your support.
Over and out.
Peace.